Kia ora from beautiful Aotearoa, that is to say hello from beautiful New Zealand. I'm Career Break Guy, taking a break from my corporate life today to play some... Flick over the screen. Welcome to the Hellfire Club, Part 2, but of course using Nimble 2. This is the cool artwork for the beginning of this, the second adventure in the box set. This one is called Scream of the Crop. I see what they did there. And you can see, well, you can't actually see because you can't see my mouse on the screen, but just off to the right of center is Nog, the character that I'm using. He's a cleric in the actual box set, but because it's Nimble 2, he is a shepherd. Same. So at the end of the last episode, Nog leveled up, so now he's level 2, and there's a couple of things that comes with that. And of course here I am again on the plot unfolding machine, which is just a really cool little way to manage your solo game. So a couple of things that have changed. One, level up, and I'll get to that, but he used the loot that he had to buy a chain shirt, got rid of that rusty mail. He also got rid of his little mace because, of course, he found a +1 flail and also a flame tongue greatsword, which did a heck of a lot more damage and fire damage, and that's a lot of fun. He got the cap of vanishing when he saved that little gnome chap, and also the potion of healing that he found. So now that he's level 2, of course, before he had a healing / damaging ability, which I completely forgot about, because when you solo play, you just forget things, and that's fine. I was still having fun, so I didn't mind. But now what he also has is he's got tier 1 radiant and necromantic spells, and so I've got little cards printed out, and also they're a bit further down. He also now can summon a life-binding spirit. It's like a little familiar that can damage things and heal him, and it's also immune to harm. So that's kind of cool. I just need to figure out what his familiar looks like. And I think, you know what? I'm a simple person. It's going to look like an orange cat. Because orange cats always get themselves in trouble. I love cats. So orange cat, that's what it is. So with those spells, of course he had Entice, Withering Touch, Entice and Withering Touch before, and also actually there's another one, Shadow Blast, which has a card but not in there. He was using Shadow Blast a bit. He also now has Shadow Trap, which means he can cast a spell, and if a creature comes close to him, it takes damage and also can be grappled by these tendrils of necrotic energy. And then as the Radiant, he had Rebuke, which he used a couple of times in True Strike, which I can't remember whether he used it or whether my character on Getting Dicey. I know he definitely used it. Someone's used it in the last week. But now he also has the heal spell itself, but he also has a healing ability, which I'd forgotten about. And now he has that orange cat that follows him around. If I pull up his character sheet real quick as well, he has got a few more hit points. You can see his armor's a bit higher now. And he is also slightly stealthier. He had 1 skill point that he could apply, so I put that into stealth. He's realized that maybe, even if you're being brave, you don't have to be reckless and announce your presence in that same manner, so a bit more caution. So, as I said, this is Scream of the Crop. I have got on another screen the adventure up that I can read. In fact, I wonder if I just make that a little bit smaller and I can just look at this and other things at the same time. Here's the starting screen. We'll get to that in just a moment. So let me just kick off. Carry along with me. I'm going to try something a little different, which means I'm going to actually put the map in after this, so that I'm not flicking back and forth so much and I won't need to edit it as I walk around the map. Hopefully it'll be a lot smoother. If it's not, who knows? I'm just trying to do a little more editing and make things a little smoother for your viewers. Thanks for taking the time to stick around and listen to my stories. Let's try and make life easier on you. Alright, so as you this is in the golden wheat, or the hills of golden wheat. It's a place. There's lots of fields of corn, seeds of grain, patches of plump pumpkins. It's off a prominent trail in southern Greyhawkins. In fact, we had that map, which I will, as I say, put up in post, so hopefully people can see that. At least I hope I put it in post. And there's a farm that has been struggling. So as we crest this hill into golden wheat, a pathetic sight greets us. So a barren stretch of wilted grey stalks, collapsed goods, and cracked earth. A stale breeze sweeps over the farm, carrying the stench of decay. Near the road, a sad-looking scarecrow slumps on its stand, its rotting pumpkin head hung low and swarming with flies. Ahead, a wooden sign swings from a crooked post. It reads, "Willard Family Farm." And further up the road, a farmhouse sits among the barren fields. Now, of course, Nog is going to look at this and think, well, God, what is up with these people? Something has gone terribly wrong here, and I wonder if, being the goodness of my heart kind of guy that I am, whether I'll be able to provide some assistance, not in farming, but, maybe something else. Even just a good word, try and raise their spirits. So he's going to strike off down the road towards his farmhouse. This is cool. So when he looks back, maybe some flies bats him away from his face. And looking back, he notices that the scarecrow is actually gone, mysteriously vanished. Anyway, so the Willard farmhouse is a humble 2-storied home with a wraparound porch. An elderly halfling wearing a straw hat, here's the picture, is in a rocking chair on the porch, staring at the blighted fields. The chair creaks as the halfling rises slowly. He looks over at Nog, and while scratching his bushy sideburns, and nods. "Well met. Y'all look like a band of capable folks. I'm Rillard Senior, but you can call me Old Rill. I hate to admit it, but my farm and my family are in a heap of trouble. I'm hoping y'all can help us out. These old bones aren't made for adventuring." And, of course, Nog is a bit surprised by this. What kind of adventuring? He hadn't expected necessarily adventuring here. But that's good, because his bones aren't made for farming. So I'm sure that they can work together to figure out what's happening. So he's going to press Old Rill for some details. I see your farm is decaying. Even your scarecrow disappeared. What's going on here? And Old Rill tells him about a few things which seem to be happening around there. So Old Rill tells him about these blighted crops, and the crops on his farm clearly are dying. But even after magical intervention by a traveling mage, nothing's happening. So Rilla doesn't know what's causing this blight, but obviously there's something amiss that even magic can't fix it. He talks, yes, that scarecrow, not the first time that one's gone disappearing. In fact, some meddlesome whippersnappers have been stealing his scarecrows, each of which has a pumpkin for its head. And Old Rill remarks that one of his scarecrows was plucked from the very spot where we had seen, where Nog had seen that other one before. But it's funny because actually he hadn't replaced it yet. And he jokes that, maybe it got up and run off on its own. He also tells about how his livestock has been vanishing. Someone's been poaching his heifers. He locks the barn every night, or one cow disappears every other night. And finally, and most importantly, and so Old Rill, don't bury the lead next time, which only just recently is spelled L-E-D-E instead of L-E-A-D. Look it up. So he mentions that his granddaughter, Rilly June, is missing. So Old Rill says she's a tough cookie who can hold her own even after a hard day's work on the farm, but he's starting to worry. It's been a couple of days. So, look, he would love if Nog would investigate, and especially to find his granddaughter, Rilly June, and he will offer 200 gold pieces to find Rilly June and unearth whatever the source of this blight is. Now, of course, Nog is like, yeah, look, these things I'd consider helping anyway. Just seems like the right thing to do. But if there's a missing person, absolutely priority. I will find this Rilly June for you. Regardless of if there's a reward. But thank you for the reward. I'll gratefully accept that in a moment. And so, Old Rill provides a sketch of Rilly June, which he was planning to give to the authorities. Oh, apparently there's a missing person poster, which I'll be able to hopefully put up in post as well. Now, he also loans a poison-soaked kukri, which he says he will hope will aid them in this. Not even sure I can use it. Oh, it's a dagger with a poison on it. Okay. I will pop that on the character sheet. Poison kukri. I mean, it's better to have it than not. So Will also kind of goes off on a tangent at this point. And he thanks Nog for agreeing to help, and also says it reminds him of a brave hero who saved these lands long ago. He briefly recounts the story of a vampire, Gunther the Gluttonous. Though he knows nothing of... Oh, no, don't worry. So, ooh, do I have something about Gunther? Oh yeah, so he talks about how the vampire Gunther the Gluttonous terrorized the people of Goldenwheat. Gunther and his 3 faithful hounds threatened to drink the farmers and their livestock dry. But when all hope seemed lost, a group of brave adventurers slew Gunther in his crypt, plunging a stake into his heart. And they left the crypt victorious, sealing it behind them, and leaving his stake buried in its corpse. Cool. Well, I mean, that does sound like something that Nog would do. So, look, Nog is going to push him for some more details. Like, okay, so you mentioned that Scarecrow was there, missing, wasn't replaced, but that's weird because I definitely saw one, even if it's not there now. Not going crazy. Cattle were in the barn, you mentioned. Obviously, there's fields. Where did we last see Lily June? Because that is, you know, the priority one is finding your lost granddaughter. And he says, you know, last time you saw her, she was in the farmhouse. So that's what Nog's going to look at first. Okay, so going in through the farmhouse, detail the following section. Okay, so looking through, he searches, you know, there's a room. It's Spartan. These people have not been doing well for a little bit, and so they're not necessarily well to do, but there's changes of clothes, there's some personal effects, a wee doll, various hats that Billie Jean could use. Looking through the rest of the house, the first level of the house, there's the living quarters, there's the kitchen. Again, it's a simple and comfortable life, but also it's not an extravagant one. However, happening into the basement, Nog, as he's walking, one of the floorboards creaks a little louder than he would have expected. And so what he's going to do is, it depresses more than he'd expected. Kind of feels a bit like it's giving away as he's searching around down here. And he's actually going to pry it up, and what it reveals is a tunnel, an earthen tunnel under the house, which he's going to descend into. And now I'm just going to find a map so I see where I'm going. He's going to go into there. Alright, so as he descends into this tunnel, and this earthen smell and the cool damp as he gets down, keeps carrying on down, goes further than he had expected, until eventually luminescent particles float through this chamber that he's walked into below the house, like deep below the house. It's quite a wide tunnel as well. So bones litter this earthen floor, slithering roots worm their way over this graveyard, and slowly deconstruct a skeleton clad in shredded leather armor. So the particles gather around this dead warrior, twinkling as an echoing, disembodied voice calls, "Who goes there? Are you adventurers? I have been stuck here for an awfully long time. Can you free me?" This is something that maybe Nog had not expected. So he is going to, he's going to pull his sword and he's going to fire it up. And he says, "Who is speaking? I am Nog, and I am here to find Riley June. Really June. Have you seen a young halfling girl? Have you brought her to harm? If you brought her to harm, then I shall vanquish you." Oh, apparently it's a slightly feminine voice that he's heard. And the voice explains that, "Free me, and I will tell you what I know." Well, that's... Wait, so who is speaking? And the voice is like, "Who do you see?" He's like, I only see this corpse, this skeleton. And again, the voice says, "Free me." He is going to... Like, okay, but if you have caused harm to Riley June, then as I say, I will send you back into whatever deep and dark place you have come from. But he is going to cut away at these roots to try and free the skeleton to hear what it knows of Riley June. So as he starts to cut at those roots with his sword, the roots squeal and writhe in pain. "Look out!" cries a disembodied voice, and the vines along the tunnel wall begin to peel away and curl into two bipedal figures that rush towards him. Oh, and I should have mentioned this room itself, it's about 20 by 20. And it says roll initiative. So, okay, let's roll our initiative. 1d20. -1. So 14. I believe he's got -1 for his initiative. Let me just double check. It's been a little while. Thanks for your patience. Initiative -1. Right, so 14. So he gets 2 actions this turn. These 2 creatures are sprinting. Was it 2 creatures? These 2 bipedal creatures are rushing towards him. And they are vine blight tanglers. So, right, he gets 2 actions, and he is going to, I guess, step forward and attack the first one. So, first of all, I'm going to do a quick... This is one of the things I love about Nimble too, is that you can, on the fly, just convert things. So, what is their AC? Their AC is 12. 12 counts as nothing. So no armor. Great. That's easy. Do they have any kind of weird stats? No. I will just jot down their HP. Well, there's that one, and there's that one. Now, in fact, what he'll do is, you know what, we've got that spell. So he will, yes, he will cast his shadow trap at his feet. He, you know, kind of plants the sword into the ground, just the tip, so or just the so that it's resting, and then he will pull this dark powers from him, and cast it into the ground, and like underneath the vines, you can see something ripple. That is 1 action. Actually, you know what he should do is he should do a spell first. So first of all, he's going to... Okay, yeah. So he'll Shadow Blast and then he'll do that. So again, pulling in the darkness from himself that he constantly battles with, and he will throw this Shadow Blast out at the first of the creatures and does 1d12 plus his key stat. And his key stat bonus is... Double checking because again it's been a while. +2. So 1d12 plus 2. And don't forget, with Nimble 2, you don't roll to attack, you just roll damage. 7 plus 2 is 9 damage to the first one. And then, as I say, then he pulls down this energy and throws it into the ground, which kind of like ripples out underneath the vines. Now the creature is going to rush to him. The first one will get to him, which is the one that he hit. And the shadow trap will fire off. So it does 3d12 damage. That's actually really awesome. 1, 2, 3d12. 5, 5, and 8 for a total of 18 damage. Actually, that's enough. So this creature is running towards him, shambling forwards, its limbs outstretched. And as it steps on this place that had had this dark energy cast into it, tendrils erupt from the ground and just eviscerate it, tear it completely apart in just a shower of bark and vines and other bits of debris. It just explodes and they flail and then dissipate out. That was cool. Yeah, it's a really cool spell. Okay, why not? Now the next creature will run up to him and it will get a chance to attack though. And what was its attack value? It does damage. What damage does it do? I'm hovering over the creature in D&D Beyond where I've got the adventure up, and it tells me the stats, but it's not telling me the actual actions. Oh, here we go. So Constricting Vines, which is a 1d10 plus 2 bludgeoning damage, and if the creature that it hits, which is Nog, is larger or small, it is grappled from one of the vines. Yeah. Okay, so 1d10 plus 2. Perfect. So it this creature plunges its arms into the earth, and vines, travel forward like a Leshy out of Witcher. And Nog sees this coming, and so he will kind of dive out of the way and also parry with this greatsword. And so as these vines erupt out and try and clamp on him like a more of some wooden beast, he has stepped to one side and also with the flaming sword bats it away. And so these vines just twist and curl and fall to the ground, and the creature retrieves its arm and sets itself up to take another attack. Nice. Now he has 3 actions, and this creature is right next to him. The first action he is going to do is he is going to attack with his big old sword, which was, from memory, I don't actually need memory, I can just look on this character sheet, 3d4 plus strength, so 3d4 plus 2. 1, 2, 3. I got a 2, a 1, and a 4 for 7, plus 2 is 9. And then also 2d6 fire. Another 8. And then what I'm going to do is, fun story, his little cat at this point will leap at, because don't forget this cat called Furball. Furball leaps at this barky creature, and as it leaps, the orange intensifies and glows, and then it just lets out this flash, this brilliant flash of radiant energy, because it can attack for 1d6 plus will, and his will was plus 2. Now normally if you do a second attack in Nimble 2 or a third attack, you get disadvantage. One of the cool things about this life binding spirit is that it does not count as it does not count as his attack. It counts as its own attack, so there's no disadvantage. I just noticed that this is a radiant spell tier 1. He should have cast it. I'm just going to say that he cast it before. What are you going to do? So let's roll. He summoned it before. So this is a 1d. what did I say? 1d6 plus will. As long as it doesn't roll a 1, we should be able to get it. 6! So that's a crit. And again, so 8 plus 2 is maths. 10. This creature, as it flashes and explodes out. And that is the end of the blight creature. One thing I should have mentioned earlier is that with the spellcasting stuff, with cantrips it's free. You're probably wondering how is he getting away with all these spells. So with cantrips it's free, that's why you can just like pew, 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 whenever he wants. But for tiered spells you have mana. So there's a Māori word, mana, which is a different thing. So you have mana. And with that you have your willpower times 3 plus your level mana points. So he's got a willpower of 2, times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8, so he can cast 8 level 1 spells. He's cast 2 so far, 1 for his familiar and 1 for his shadow trap. So he's got 6 more spells. Anyway, he has now defeated the creatures. They have both erupted and died and, bloated and died. And so at this point he is going to continue clearing away the vines from this skeleton. So, as he does, the voice thanks him for freeing her, and she explains that her name is Justine Fobard, and her spirit has been trapped in her entangled remains. She doesn't have long, but what she will say is that there is an ankhead here, and Nog will know that this is a large acid-spitting bug it digs tunnels, and he's like, that does make sense, with this, and that it sometimes drags cows down here, so that's probably why those are disappearing. It also explains that Gunther is real. And whilst he might have been defeated, his hounds still remain. He has 3 hounds, and now they guard his final resting place. But now they're become more than just a dog. They're some dog-like monster. And judging by the art that we saw before, I think we know what has happened to them. She also says that inside this place is a Gulthias tree, which is an accursed plant which has sprouted from the blood-soaked stake of the slain vampire. How is she getting this knowledge? I guess maybe her spirit can travel around inside these areas. And she knows of that kind of tree, and she believes that such a tree has grown in Gunther's crypt, and is probably the source of the blight which is poisoning the land. Fire can weaken in the tree, but the only way to truly destroy is to uproot it completely. And also, vampires are a real thing, so her party was the one that hunted down Gunther, drove the stake through his heart, but Justine was slain by one of his minions, and her fellow party members abandoned her in their quest for glory. Her spirit lingered, vainly hoping that they would return, until eventually the roots became her cave. After she says what she knows, the twinkling motes fade and silence falls over the tunnels once more. Okay, so Nog takes a moment. He says a little prayer to his deity. The courage that Justine had shown fighting a vampire. Takes a moment of disdain even for her companions who disappeared, never came back for her. He's not entirely sure of the situation, but you'd think they would come back. So, he will, put the body in a form of peace, I guess. And he notices around the skeleton's neck is a silver emblem of Hieronius, the god of chivalry, honor, and justice, and it's shaped like a lightning bolt. And this is actually his god, I believe. So to honor her, he will take that, and he says thank you. He will carry on the fight for Hieronius. Just pops that around his head. So now he's in this room. Where is he going to go? He's going to go... Well, there's only one exit out of this room. So he will head that way. So as he heads to, we'll say it feels like the east. To the one exit other than the one he came through. So 2 plants shaped like droplets with purple lattice-like branches sprout from the ground in this tunnel. Their tendrils snake towards the ceiling and intertwine with the vines that cover every surface. Ooh, okay, this is kind of cool picture. Can I copy image? Put it in here for everyone to see? Nope, wrong image. Delete. What I wanted was this other picture. Open. Copy. Paste. Cool. This cool tunnel thing. Oh, there's Nog even. Good old Noggy. Nog. Yes. Tendrils snake towards the ceiling, intertwined with vines. There's vines everywhere. And he's a little wary. Because, you know, the vines seemed alive in the last room. So he's got his sword out and the flame's on. Now, as he's carrying in, you can see the building, the tunnels carry on further in and also turn to the right and kind of almost double back on itself. So he is going to make a perception check just to see if he can catch anything, like hear anything that might be worth listening for. Is there noises somewhere? The sound of Justine. No, sorry, Justine. Just the sound of really June. So his perception is +2, 20 +2. Let's roll. 5. No. So what he hears is the creaking and rustling of these vines, and it's quite unnerving. And this whole place is just giant set of vines. A tunnel's clearly been dug, but now these roots have just encompassed everything. So he is going to I guess he's just going to carry on forwards. Can you remember where anything was up above? No. Right, so carrying forwards. However, as he is walking forwards, he was just going to carry on past these purple plants. But as he walks towards them, 2 vine blight tanglers, which I believe is the same creature that he just defeated in the other area. Vine blight tanglers, yes. 2 more of them leap out from beneath these purple fungi. They're called violet fungi. And they are immediately hostile towards him, and so they leap out, and again we enter combat. This game is combat heavy. 15 again, so he gets 2 actions. He is going to, you know what? He is just going to, one has leapt out right next to him, and he's just going to swing at that sucker. Did I just make everything disappear? No. Hopefully not. So yeah, he's going to swing at it. He will roll a d20. No, he won't, because you don't roll to hit in this game. You roll 3d4. 4, which is a crit, actually. So 9. Another crit. Another crit. Okay, so he rolled a 4-1-4, then a 4-4-4, ooh, then a 4-1-3, then a 2-2-1, for a total of maths damage. Anyway, it is far more than the creature had, so he was walking forwards using the sword as a torch of sorts. The flame, it's not as strong as a torch, but it lights the immediate area. And this creature has leapt out from underneath this purple mushroom as he's come past, and he's just been like, "What the?" and spins around and just blasts it into a wall. It catches the full force of the sword. It's the momentum of this creature leaping out, the swing of the sword, cleaves it, the flame catches, like I haven't even rolled the flame damage yet, but it just, yeah, the momentum is enough to just rip this thing into pieces. And then with the second one, again, the cat, whose name I've already forgotten. Was it Mittens? No, Mittens is from my other game. Anyway, his familiar leaps at the second creature, which is coming out from a little further down the tunnel, and it will roll its 1d6 plus 2 to 4 damage. Okay. Now this creature is going to swing at the familiar, but kind of passes through, disappear, is unable to hit it. So I'm just going to say that's flavor. It continues into this corridor, noting that it can't actually strike this cat creature, and it will swing at Nog. And what do we say that it did? It was a 1d10 from memory? Maybe I just need to leave their damage up. 1d10 plus 2. Roll 6. Plus 2 is 8. So it again will plunge its arms into the earth, and vines are going to shoot from everywhere. And this time he isn't able to dodge out of the way, but he kind of like hunkers down and just takes it on the armor. So I'm going to use one of his actions from next round to mitigate the damage. His armor rating is now 8, I believe. Yep, is now 8, thanks to his new armor, his chain shirt. So while it feels like he's been punched from all these directions, it does no actual lasting damage to him. His turn now. He will swing with the sword, and let's see if we can do a series of crits again. No, 2, 3, 1, 6 plus 2, 8 damage, so he strikes out. Just doing the math over here to how much damage actually has left. Oh, and then 2d6 fire. Another 3 fire. So yeah, this creature has plunged its hands. These things have come out from the walls, and he's hunkered down. And then he swings, swinging his sword in a large arc to try and cut through, push them back, and also clips this creature. Not enough to just dismantle it like the last one, but it kind of rides and looks like it would shriek if it was something that actually made noise. And then coming off that swing, he's going to return back around at disadvantage this time. Oh, you know what? No, instead of that, he will... Let's have the familiar do its attack first. 4 plus 2, 6. So again, he has swung almost blindly because he was defending himself. Puts a swing through, feels it connect. Can open his eyes just again as his familiar leaps up, and a flash of light reduces this, sends this creature just sizzling to the ground. These things, man, they pain in the butt. So he is now going to continue through further east through this corridor, past these violet fungi. And he gets into this area. So the floor of this spacious chamber, so this is quite a large one. This is maybe only 20 odd feet across. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 40 feet deep. Right. So this spacious chamber, it's 10 feet lower than the ones that branch out from it. It's dipped down into this little pit. There's just an absolute stench coming out of this. And looking around, the reason is quite clear. There is just cow carcasses decaying, various bones, which twitch under a network of slowly constricting otherworldly roots. This is just... The ceiling in this chamber, it's about 20 feet high. And all the tunnels that lead into here have a random 10-foot drop. Get in, okay. So he's just kind of standing on the edge. 10 foot's quite a big drop for a little guy. So I think what he's going to do is he's actually going to backtrack first, see if whether he can come at this from a different angle that won't require him to fall so far. And he could just climb, but he's going to spin around. There was that tunnel that doubled back on itself before, so he's going to go down that way. And that will lead us through this way. So the tunnel is quite constricted, runs for 50, 60 feet, until he eventually leads to, it kind of warms up and the damp smell increases, and there's a thick fog inside of this chamber, which smells not unlike freshly dug dirt. There's a low chitinous clacking noise echoing through the obscuring mist, accompanied by the sounds of shifting earth and clattering rocks. So that is awkward. So the chittering noise is never a good sign. He's definitely got his sword out in front of him. And I think what he might do is he is going to drop. He's going to take a couple of steps into this chamber, just to the edge of the fog, and then he's going to cast Shadow Trap. That's another use. Pulling this energy down, pushes it into the ground, and then what's he going to do? I guess he's heard this noise. He is going to he's going to ask his familiar to run into this room and try and light the way a little bit. And it does. It runs in, scampering on its little legs, and the chitinous noise increases. There's sound of shifting earth and some large movement. So he's actually, he'll call it back, but he doesn't actually want this creature to be attacked. So it comes skittering out through the low end of the fog, and then breaching through the fog is this large ankeg. Awkward. So this is large, a monstrous-sized creature. Ooh, can I open up this image and show you this as well? Because that might be fun. Copy image. There we go. So he's now coming up against this. And we are going to... He was prepared, like he knew there was something in here, so I'm going to say that he's going to roll his dice. I'm not going to say he's completely surprised. Hopefully he only gets one action though, because that feels about right. 19, okay, so 18. He does get 2 actions. This creature's coming towards him. And first of all, he is going to throw a Shadow Blast. Reaches in, grabs the dark energy inside of him and throws it for 1d12 plus 2. Rolling a 6 to 8 damage. Actually, how much life does this creature have? Jot that down. Also, what is the stats? Does it have armor? Because I'm going to have to try and... Okay, it's got that much life. That's a reasonable number. And its AC is 14. 14 counts as having medium armor, so therefore, if it has medium armor, then I don't take the full... I'm trying to remember what that is. One of them is you only do crit damage. And the other one is Hold on. Let me just look this up for a moment. Rules. Then we'll look at the rules for rules, combat, monsters and armor. This creature has armor, medium. It takes only the die for damage, ignores the modifier. Okay, so it actually only takes 6 damage. I wish it had taken more. And then for his second action, he will get his familiar to explode, like jump on its back. So he, as it's breached out of the mist and little contrails, this the darkened form, and then all of a sudden there's right up in his face. So he has swung the sword out in front of him, tried to again catch the momentum, but it clatters against armor. This thing is clearly more durable than the blights that he had just encountered. And his familiar jumps on the back of this creature and does a reasonable amount of damage. I would have loved, actually, I think it would have been incredibly funny if this familiar had just rolled crits, just straight crits, and this ungodly explosion of light, godly light, killed the creature. But he did not. We'll deal with that. So now it is the Ankeg's turn. Its attack is 2d6 plus 3 plus 1d6 acid damage. Ugh. A 2d6 plus 3, but it rolls a 1. A 1 and a 4 is a miss. So maybe it was coming in with these giant claws. Get this picture back up. Coming in with these giant claws and mandibles, and it was snapping towards him. It had been undaunted by the swing of his sword, but then this flash from his familiar was just enough, not necessarily to blind it, but certainly it was unexpected, and the sudden searing radiant pain. Oh, I hadn't done the fire damage. We missed that opportunity. Is enough to distract it, to throw its aim enough for Nog to get out of the way as it slams into the wall next to him. Bits of vine and root being pulled down and dirt being ripped out of the wall. Huge chunk. But now it is his... Oh, wait. And the shadow trap goes off. It is his turn. First of all, I'll resolve the shadow trap, which is 3d12 damage. And then I'll take his turn. So that does 16 damage to it. Come on, maths. I know you're in there. Right. So, again, it's slammed into the wall, and it starts spinning back towards him, and he is going to sweep at these legs. He's come down and big wide arc with this sword. Oh, 414, so that's a crit. Let's roll that again. 111, okay. So it doesn't count as a miss if you roll a 1 on the crit. That's an awful roll, the 111 part. So 12 damage plus then the flames is another 9, so 21. Yes. So the creature is slammed into the wall, spins around. Nog goes low, sweeps at the legs with the sword. The fire flares up, and he just manages to find, as much as it is armored, he finds those little gaps where it needs to be able to bend, and cleaves straight through. The creature topples over. That was enough to kill it, by the way. And as it starts to claw, Ford tries to pull itself up. He will just spin, move to one side, bring down this great sword, and behead the creature. And that was not as bad as I'd hoped. Okay, we've killed the Ankeg. It's still really an awkward amount of steam, though. How do we deal with that? Do we need to deal with that? Heavily obscured. I guess I probably should roll with that, but then I did say he stayed right at the edge of it. We're too far gone now. He is going to very carefully... Well, first of all, he's going to listen for anything. 17. He doesn't hear anything in this immediate room anymore. No, that sounds of movement or whatnot. Just wondering, would he hear anything? He does hear some movement behind, or like off to his left towards the east. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to follow the wall in this room on his right. And he walks his way through the fog. You know, kind of just not necessarily rubbing his arm on the wall, but you know, keeping it very close so that things are unlikely to jump out at him. And waves a sword to try and disperse some of the mist and also, you know, catch anything foolish enough to jump out at him. But he does not, and he eventually escapes out of this mist, and he's in another chamber about 10 feet wide, which carries on down to the southwest, if he's still got his bearings here. Carrying on through, he finds himself standing before an entrance of a buried crypt. Thick vines cover its crumbling stone doors, and gnarled black roots weave across the chamber floor. Near the door, the vines wrap around a halfling farmhand. She's out cold. Oh, we wanted to find a halfling farmhand. Oh, I did it again. Halfling farmhand, copy image. Paste. Oh no! Unconscious and vines. Okay, this is the core thing for him. So he's actually just going to run forward at this point to check on who he assumes is really... Oh, actually, he saw the picture, so he's going to rush forward because he's found that this is really June. She's restrained and unconscious. So what he's going to have to do is he is going to try and get rid of these vines. And it says that I can make a strength athletics check. But at the same time, he's got a flaming sword, which he can just carefully... Maybe he will, you know, for the sake of argument, let's do an athletics check. Which is not quite the same in this game. Athletics is just make a might check. Might is 2, which makes sense. 17 plus 2, 19. That's easily enough. So he just starts careful. You know, I guess he has to put the sword down for a moment. He just jams it into the ground, point down, and begins removing these vines, making sure that, you know, they're not going to try, whether trying to envelop her or anything. These ones look quite placid, I guess. And he just makes sure that her airways are clear, and that she doesn't get, no, when she's untangled, she's not going to fall down awkwardly or anything like that. And then he will get his familiar to come by. Oh no, you know what? He can do it himself. He's just going to cast his healing power, which, if I close that, was... He'll will D8 HP to a dying creature. Okay, she's not dying. Maybe then it is just that his familiar uses its heal. According to the rules, I don't have to, but I think it'll be nice. So once free, she gets a start. And he quickly says, I'm here to save you. Your grandfather sent me. My name is Nog. Are you okay? And she takes a moment. She introduces herself. Lo and behold, she is really June. Now, so she heard digging sounds in the farmhouse basement and found a tunnel. Tunnel. She followed the tunnel, hoping it might reveal clues about this blighted crop, but she was ambushed by a strange creature and brought here. She did catch a peek inside the crypt, which is just on the other side of these doors, which is somewhat open. And somehow there's a tree growing underground there. That's what the spirit told us about. She volunteers to accompany Nog. She's like, I'll come and I'll I'll confront the source of this blight. You know, it's my farm, and so it's my right to help defend it. Which I don't think is a terribly great idea. So he is going to try, you can try and persuade her to not join you. So what is his persuade young halflings to not die skill? Influence. Let's roll that. 8 plus 2 is 10. No. So Nog's like, you know, you've been gone for 2 days, and you've only just woken up, and you know, I think your grandfather's worried, and I'd hate for further harm to come to you. And she vehemently refuses. She's like, I've never felt better. And you know, Nog knows it's because she just got the healing from his familiar. And again, she reiterates that it is her farm to defend, and if anything, she should just send him out in a way. Nog does try to, you know, reiterate, you know, I can't guarantee your safety, and she says, I can't guarantee yours either, so looks like we're doing this together. Shall we then? And I guess we are. You know what, he's going to... has a torch. He gives her the torch and says, here, look, can you carry this at least so that you've... or like, in case you get some vines, makes a makeshift torch. It's like, here, use this so you can illuminate the area so you can see, and just stay behind me. You know, if it's a tree, we might need to burn it. My sword, obviously, but this is a good backup. Yeah, but definitely stay behind me. And then he kind of like gives a side eye to his cat, so the cat knows to stay and defend her. And they press in, though, into the next room. So inside of here, a black bark tree looms crooked over the airy crypt. Not airy. The tree's gnarled branches press against the 15-foot high ceiling, and its twisted trunk rises from the splintered lid of a closed coffin encaged in knotted roots. Squirming vines wriggle along the crypt's wall. 3 hideous dogs with eyeless faces growl as they pace around the tree. Awkward. Just grabbing you some art to look at. So this is what we're seeing. I mean, this art is cool. I'm not a person who has to be like, oh, D&D peaked in the 80s. I'm enjoying the OSR movement, especially things like funnels, but I'm not a purist or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, this art is cool. This is super fun. So this is what we see, and the little story that goes behind this. What do I need to know as the GM? Put the GM hat on. That's a crypt, there's a coffin, tree. As though the creatures all spin around, and they may not have eyes, but they absolutely sense Nog and Really June at the door. And so Nog is going to take a position because all 3 of these creatures, again, will start to close in on him, and we will roll for combat. Because you know what? Never enough combat in D&D. 9, 8, so he gets 1 action this turn, and that action is going to be pulling this energy down from his soul and pushing it into the ground as he casts Soul Trap. That is 4 of my 8 mana that he has spent. I better get the stats for these creatures, because they want to fight him. So, weirdly enough, the demon dogs didn't have a hyperlink to get to their stats, but I've now found, sorry, demo dogs, not demon dogs. I found the stats for the demo dogs. They've got AC 14, so they've got medium armor, which means that if I hit them, I'll do whatever I roll, but not any stat damage. got their HP, I've got their attack. Just looks like a normal bite. And so, his first action was Shadow Trap. Now the first demodog runs up to him, and as it stands on that patch where underneath the vines there's the rippling energy, again they erupt out of the ground for 3d6. Oh, sorry, 3d12 damage. 1, 2, 3. 8, 8, and 10 for 26. That's a good start. What size are these demo dogs, actually? They are size small. So, if small or tiny, it is also grappled by the shadowy tendrils for as long as he maintains concentration or until it escapes. So this first dog leaps at him, and then effectively these tendrils shoot out of the ground, just lifted into the air. It makes a strange little whelping noise, and some of these tendrils have gone through the creature and pierced it, and it looks in really bad shape, and the other ones just kind of wrap around and encase it as it's held in the air. Its little legs flailing. That does not stop the next two dogs from jumping in though, and I'm going to roll both their attacks together, which is what you do when there's a group of creatures. So they do 1d10 plus 3. So I do 2d10 plus 6. I don't like the looks of this. Oh, would be a crit, but I said there was no crits. So 12 plus 6 is 18 damage. That's a heck of a lot of damage. So he is going to spend one of his actions for the next turn to kind of, as best as possible, take this on the armor. So, you know, he sees these creatures leaping towards him with these maws open, and he again makes sure that he is in between Willie June and these creatures. One of them maybe even is trying to get past, and he just kind of like jams an arm out and it clamps down on the chain, and that's where it's a bit weaker, and that's why he takes more damage from it. I say it was 12, 18 minus his armor of 8, so he takes 10 wounds. Yikes. Does that make him bloodied? No, almost so. He's on 12 now. That's half his wounds. That's awkward. But it is now his turn. These creatures are jumping at him and snapping, and he's trying his best to keep them off, but it is largely just the armor. And he can feel it crushing in, and feel even teeth coming through in places, especially, as I say, his arm, as he tried to make sure that it's like, no, you're not going to get past me, and throws them back. So now in his turn, he is going to swing this sword and hope for the absolute best. 1, 2, 3, D4. Pushes the creatures back, and as they prepare to attack, plus 2d6. So 8, 14 damage to one of them. Yeah, so they kind of leap back, and then they're getting ready to strike him. As one's coming in, he swipes, and he does catch it. It's a good hit. Not enough to kill it, but it's certainly, the creature is aware that it has been hit by this flaming weapon. His second action, what he is going to do is he is going to, I feel like he needs healing, because that's just a lot of damage. I think maybe we will get... Does he want to cast it as a spell? Because he's got the heal spell. 1d6 plus 2. But then he's got the creature. So his little creaturey thing is going to... His familiar will... The light pulses out of it and it warms through his body, and it will heal him as it uses its heal ability. Or 2 plus 1d6, 1. Oh, that's awful. Okay, so he gets 3 hit points back. He does still feel the warming effects, just not very much. But you know what? I will take 3, because what's the other option? These creatures now spin around again. They're a little more cautious, and I assume they're just going to attack from either direction as I roll this dice. 7 to 6, 13 plus 6 is 19. Ooh, so much damage. And again, he's going to have to, as best he can, try and fend them off using one of his actions to reduce that by 8. Still takes 11 damage. He is down to 4. Like, he is severely feeling these creatures. They split up. They went on either side so that it was harder for him to defend. At first they thought they had the advantage of numbers, but lo and behold, he didn't really give them that opportunity. But they've learned very quickly, and attacking from either side have grasped in. One flew through in a fleeting blow to swipe at legs, and he's trying to fend them off, but is not able to defend very well. Man, this is going to be really awkward. Oh, of course. Wait, we've got that little. Does she do something? Really, June? Do we have stats for Really June? There is stats for Really June, and she is here. I'm going to say that in the... Yeah, so as... Oh, wow, she can make 2 Hayfork attacks. My lord. I'm just going to say that she gets 2 attacks, and she does 1d8 plus 2 piercing damage. So she's going to stab at the one that got attacked by him first of all. So it does 2 damage, and then she'll do a second attack, which we will take the lower of. That's a swirling melee, and maybe she's having second thoughts at the moment. Yep, so she swings once, and the second time, she's gonna go, but then the creature passes quite quickly in front of her, and she jumps backwards out of the way in time. So the second blow doesn't connect. Oh no, he's gonna die. He's so gonna die. Okay. Right, first of all, he is going to Nog. One of these things is quite injured, and he is going to swing again to try and finish it off. Was it? It had taken 2 damage, so it's down to this now. 3d4 plus 2d6. Oh, that's a crit. Right, so the creature had just been stabbed by Really June, and the other one kind of came jumping at her as she was about to strike it again, so she jumped out of the way. But the creature that she hit has kind of spun around to look at her, and Nog takes this moment to swing through with his sword. The fire seems to flare for a moment, and he just manages to finish this creature off with this huge overhand swing. That's really convenient. And I'm just going to say that one that had 1 hit point is and was restrained, or grappled, is dead. That GM fiat. I'm the GM and the player, and I'm just going to say that it died. So now his second action, he's actually going to take his healing potion. It does 2d4 plus 4 HP. And I really hope to roll well, because otherwise he's going to die. 3 plus 4 is 7. You know what? It's just going to have to do. So he gets another... He's up to 11. That's half his hit points. So he's bloodied. So he cracks that creature, spins around, and then, just like pops the lid of this potion, splashes on his face like a boxer, and they're doing some, and then water over his face. Anyway, so the creature's turn. It is going to again. Oh, you know what? No, it's going to leap at Really June. Partially because this means I get to use one of the other things that you can do in this game, which is interpose. So if a creature within 2 spaces will be struck by an attack, you can push them out of the way and become the new target. So, first of all, does the demodog hit Really June? Or try to hit Really June? Yes, so it would hit her. But what I'm saying is that, he's off this thing, just throws the glass and sees the demodog leaping towards her. And he just throws himself, kind of half tackles it. And in this, no, just, she's like kind of stunned at the moment, but he half tackles it. The momentum throwing them both to one side as they reel around. Because of the multiple petal mouth thing, manages to snap and do damage at him. 3 plus, what do we say the damage was? 1d10 plus 3, so for 6 damage. That was one of his actions, was to interpose. Doesn't really have a lot of damage left. So I'm going to use another one of the actions to say that he was defending, and as much as it was snapping, this was clamping onto the chainmail. Doesn't actually damage him. He does only have one action left on his turn though, which is unfortunate. Right, so now we'll say it's really June's turn. And does anyone remember what damage she could do? She had 2 attacks, d8. So now that the 2 of them have rolled off, maybe the creature's... Oh, there you go. She critted. So the creature is, he's knocked it to the ground and both of them kind of spin off, and the creature's scrabbling to its feet, and she just comes through with a pitchfork and just jams it in the side for 10 damage. Really catches it, and again lets out this strange whimpery noise. Gonna roll with disadvantage now, so does a 3. She just keeps stabbing at this creature. Oh, I did the wrong thing, so it has actually got this much health left. Yeah, really, no, sorry, maybe she jams it and then like kind of leverages it to push it away, and so it kind of digs in at the same time, and the creature pulls itself off, spins around and prepares to attack. Good old Nog is going to get up, reclaim his sword, and just lunge at it. He really needs this fight to be over. No, he rolled a 1. Okay, so he misses completely. So he, lunges at this creature, but there's all these vines on the ground, of course. So he goes for the stab, but then his uneven footing, and of course he's a bit dazed. He's just spun around from tackling this creature. So he off balances himself and kind of spins past and like doesn't have the momentum to get all the way to the creature and just squares up next to it. The creature's turn to attack, and this time it is going to attack him again. 5 plus 6, 8 damage. So it leaps and it connects, but he's got his sword and he's going to try and get this two-handed pommel and just kind of jam it, like get blade and pommel and hilt and everything into the mouths. Still getting scratched by the edge of the teeth, but it's catching on his chain. I'm going to use one of his actions to defend against this. Negate that 8 damage completely, which is fortunate because otherwise he's going to start dying soon. Was it his turn? No, that was his turn, then its turn. So now it is really June with her little d8. Can she kill this thing? She does 6 and she does 5, 11 damage. So this creature is up on Nog and he's trying to push it off, and she just comes in again, just like, get off my farm, and just starts stabbing it in the back. Nog will push it off and then try and cleave it with his sword. 8 plus 2d6. Yep, so, jabs in the back, and it is distracted very severely by this. So when he pushes it off, and again he just follows through with that momentum, the jaws open wide, and he just catches it, and it just kind of sticks and burns, and it's like a flower melting, except it's the face, and that's really a grim description, but this is where we've landed. And for a moment, hopefully this room was quiet. There's little familiar sitting there, and really June is sitting with a pitchfork. What am I looking for? Does it say anything is happening in this room other than these dogs? No, it looks like we just dealt with the dogs. Okay, that's good. So, the room is quiet, and You know, Nog first of all checks, it's lucky that you were here, but are you hurt? And she explains that no, she's fine. And thank you for when you threw yourself at the beast so that it wasn't able to attack me. That was brave and foolish of you. And he's like, well, that's kind of what I do, brave and foolish. However, he is feeling a lot of hurt at the moment. He doesn't have his potion of healing anymore, so I can put that card away. It's a cool little, not sure if you can see that very well, little potion. But he does have his own healing magic. So he was going to use one of his remaining mana points, and he just focuses in and feels the warmth spreading through his body as he casts healing. So for 1d6 plus his key skill, which is 2. 4. You know what? Beats nothing. Nog. Plus 4. Puts him to 15. We'll take it. So now we are just left in this room. Where's that picture gone? There you go. Ignore the dogs, or demo dogs, because they are gone. So Nog says, oh, well, there's not a tree that I've met that hasn't been able to, be destroyed by fire. You've got this torch which you discarded, but would you like to now cast the first flame? And it's got an AC and it's got hit points, but she has fire, he has a flaming greatsword. I'm just going to say that they get through it. So the tree screeches as it withers and dies. There's fire catching it, circling through the roof, not in some kind of, oh, we're all going to die inferno type way, but as this does spread over, and it just mainly encompasses where the tree is. So the tree screeches as it withers and dies. Silence falls over the whole crypt, but the tree remains defiantly in place, its roots anchored deep into the earth. Now I feel like that Ghost said that we had to... the only way to truly destroy this evil is to uproot it completely. Okay. So it says that we can do a Arcana check. I know, to look at it. So, but to uproot the tree, you can do an athletics check to try and dig it out. And so, yeah, you know what? He's going to use the sword. He's going to try and leverage it out. Jenny's got her... really, June has got her pitchfork. And so between the two of them, they're going to try and do this. She's going to do the help action as he rolls his athletics. So with the help action, he'll get advantage. I really hope this works. 16 plus 2 for his strength is 18. Is that enough? Surely. Yes. So between the two of them, they heave. He hacks away at some of the stronger roots just to try and, on one side to try and make it leverage and get over, and then the pitchfork and the two of them working together. And the tree is uprooted. Nice. Which now they can see inside this wrecked coffin. So inside is a vampire's desiccated corpse with the following items: a dart made of a strange wood, or in the shape of a strange creature, an amulet sporting a delicate crystal spider, a blue handkerchief with gold embroidery, and a pouch that contains 50 gold. Do we really want to mess with a vampire's... I think we just note that this is down here, but Nog is in no hurry to take it, and he just reaffirms that, really, June, maybe you should go see Old Rill. So they return to the farmhouse back through the way they came through the fog, and what they actually notice is that there's more of these blight creatures, but they've just collapsed. Whatever foul magic was keeping them together, and we know the foul magic was the tree. The foul magic keeping them together has now been destroyed, and so they are no more. So as we approach the farmhouse, or come out of the farmhouse, old Will leaps from his rocking chair. Well, yank my sideburns and call me cornbread. Turns out the real heroes do exist, he exclaims. He tips his hat. You've done my family and this farm an immeasurable kindness. Why don't y'all come in and rest a while? I've got pumpkin soup on the stove and you've earned it. Nice. So he invites Nog to stay the night, enjoy some home-cooked meal. He gets his payment, and really June talks about whether she could join Nog on further adventures, and he says, I mean, thank you, but no. Your place, there's a lot of rebuilding to be done on the farm. Really June and Old Real invite Nog to revisit anytime. For free, comfortable lodgings and a hot meal whenever he's in the area, which he gratefully accepts. And also, he goes, oh, and your kukri. And Old Will's like, oh, you keep that. This is hero things for heroes. And now everyone gains 1 level. And that was actually the Scream of the Crop. So each of these has taken about maybe an hour and a half, roughly. There's one more mission after this, which, you know what, I may actually record back to back. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me. This was Welcome to the Hellfire Club Scream of the Crop, using Nimble 2 because you can translate it on the fly. Solo because you can run a game yourself. DM Yourself is a great book. It talks about how to read forward but not read too far forward. And also, you're the player, the GM. As long as you're having fun, it's fine. Have I forgotten rules? Probably. I still enjoyed myself. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me. Hear the story. Sorry for the spoilers. Probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. And yeah, look after yourself. Sorry this video has been a little longer to get out than I had anticipated. Life's been busy. My health hasn't been the greatest, but I'm feeling better, so now I thought I would take the time to enjoy myself, play this game, share it with you. And I hope to see you next time. Ka kite.